Happy to see you today. Thank
Thank
you.
you. To have all of you with us. We are now recording this session. Masa, good to have you with us as well. So today we're going to start with the research paper and finishing the PowerPoint from last time. So we got partway through that PowerPoint. And we're at the point where we're talking about the thesis statement. In your essay, your research paper, the thesis statement states your central argument. It establishes the purpose and the position of your paper. It's a brief answering of your research question. It is concise, contentious, and coherent, and guides your arguments further on in the paper. How do you develop a thesis statement? If the topic is sugar consumption, this fragment isn't a thesis statement. It indicates a general subject. You need to narrow the topic. Read about the topic. Elementary school children are consuming far more sugar than is healthy. And then this could be a little better thesis statement: reducing sugar consumption by elementary school children. Take a position on the topic. Decide that what you really want to say about this topic. More attention should be paid to the food and beverage choice available to elementary school children. So by stating these two sentences, you are putting down a much more accurate thesis statement, giving a bit more information than just stating sugar consumption. Work-life balance. This fragment isn't a thesis statement. It indicates a general subject. Again, narrow the topic. Read about the topic. Take a position on the topic. Decide what you really want to say about this topic. Work from home opportunities and 6-hour workdays will improve productivity when employees are in the office. By making this your thesis statement about work-life balance, you're taking a position on the topic and you're deciding what you really want to say about this topic. Corporations should provide more work from home opportunities and 6-hour workdays so that office workers have a better work-life balance and are more likely to be productive when they're in the office. So you can see how going from a general subject idea and developing a thesis statement and then taking a position on it, you really are covering some key points about your research topic. So let's get started. What is the paper about? You introduce the topic, add key terms and ideas. Why is your paper worthwhile? Tell the reader what new insights you will offer. And how will you make your arguments? Give some signposting about the structure of the paper. Writing the main body of the paper. Each paragraph or section covers one idea. The information presented in a logical order that serves your argument. Contains all your evidence and arguments. Don't save anything for the conclusion. The conclusion should always just be a summary. It should not be introducing any new ideas. Present and develop all your central arguments, and the evidence supporting them are presented in the main body of the paper, and they support your thesis statement. Paragraph structure. Follow your outline. Use topic sentences in each paragraph. Keep your thesis statement in mind and make effective transitions from one idea to the next. In the conclusion, summarize your argument and central point. No new arguments or evidence. Reflect on limitations, mention those limitations, and suggest areas for further research. Edit for content. During these revision process editing sessions that you go through with your paper, you've done a lot of work to this point. Now go back to work and edit your paper before you're ready to turn it in. As I mentioned before, having somebody else read your paper, they don't need to know all about the topic. They're just reading it to make sure that you don't have spelling mistakes. They're making sure that it flows nicely. They're not editing for the research that you're offering. They're editing just for how you've written the paper and put it together. So get somebody who's not familiar with your paper to read it through for you, and they will pick up small errors that you were not aware of, because when we read our own writing, we know what we want it to say, and we read exactly what we want to see. Unfortunately, sometimes we make mistakes and we don't catch our own mistakes. So be very careful with that point. Edit for grammar. It is also important to do this, checking for commas, semicolons, and run-on sentences in the Word documents that you use to write your papers. I don't know if you have the editor function up in the top right-hand corner. If you do have an editor function in your Word document, apply the editor function, click on it, and it will highlight what are some standard conventions and problems with grammar and punctuation, and you can use those editor function points to do a lot of repairs. Common errors in essays are subject-verb agreements, single and plural nouns, making sure that things line up and they match in terms of whether they're single or plural. The use of articles, the verb tenses you apply, prepositions, use of prepositions, fragments and non-grammatical sentences. Make sure your sentences are always complete sentences. The wrong word or tone or vocabulary use might give you an incorrect sense to what you're trying to say, so watch for that carefully. Word forms, the actual form of each individual word, is it the correct spelling? The collocations, any missing words, too many words. You don't want to have run-on sentences that are just a lot of verbiage. You want to make sure that each sentence makes sense and is saying what you want it to say. The word order, make sure that you have the words in correct grammatical order. Check your punctuation and check your spelling. Those are the most common errors that we find in essays. So you probably are able to identify spots and items in this list that you have difficulty with, so just watch those carefully when you're doing your paper. Reread it and reread it and reread it again. As I mentioned last week, when I was writing my research paper, I probably reread it 26 times. And then I had my sister read it as well. She found some things that I didn't even catch in my own writing. I read it 26 times and skipped right over the errors that I had, and she caught some of those errors. So it was a very good thing to have her read it through too. Before you submit it, does your paper fulfill all the requirements that the assignment asks for? Did you stick to a topic that fits the assignment? Are your sources credible, reliable, and logical? Do you have a clear, arguable thesis statement? Is your paper organized in a logical way that is easy to understand? Did you plagiarize? We've talked about that before. Just don't do it. That's the best way to avoid any problems about plagiarizing. Just don't plagiarize. Always reference your sources. Did you proofread for content and grammar improvements and errors? Is your paper properly formatted? Are you prepared to submit correctly? So just a chart form to go over all the information we've talked about. The introduction statement, it describes your research question and makes your thesis statement. The main body gives the results of your research and your arguments, the pros and cons, the advantages and disadvantages. And then the conclusion is a summary of key points. key points, and it expresses the significance of the topic. So again, you can go to the Scribber website and you can get a number of resources connected to writing a research paper on the Scribber website. Just in your search engine, just type Scribber, spelled like that, and it'll take you to the Scribber website. The TESOL research topics. As we looked last week, there are 4 topics on the Canvas platform for you to choose from. And you can use one of these 4 topics, or you can come up with your own topic, but you need to get permission from TESOL ahead of time. So if you want to use a topic of your own design, you need to describe it thoroughly in an email and send that to Simon Baker to get approval before you write the paper. So here's the first question. This is the second one. This is the third one. And this was the fourth one about the LINK program, which was the one I wrote about. There are a number of resources, plagiarism detection tools for e-learning. If you do want to download a plagiarism detection tool, and again in your search bar, just type plagiarism detection tools, and you'll get a number of options come up. So again, Scribber is a website that you can go to and find out a lot of details about the writing style and the organization of the paper. And there we go. Any questions about the research paper, folks? Yes, Farah, question.
Daniel, would it be possible to share the PowerPoint with us so that we keep it as reference while we are working on the paper?
Well, the PowerPoint that I have shown you is it's a TESOL PowerPoint, so I can't send the PowerPoint out without getting permission from TESOL to do that. And so you could review it, of course, by going over the webinar recordings.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, were there some specific points that you wanted to?
No, I was just thinking it would be useful to refer back to it while you're working on the paper, but that's fine. I can take a look at the recording and then review. Thank you.
Yes, and make notes from there. Okay, Farah.
Thank you.
Shok, you have a question.
Hi, just who will be marking the papers?
I don't know. The papers are given to various instructors to mark. In the past, I have marked some, but I don't mark all of them. So I have no idea if I will be marking any of your papers or not. I never know what assignments I'm marking until TESOL emails them to me and asks me to mark them. So
Got it.
So it's kind of a random assignment of assignments, a random assignment of projects that get sent out to different instructors.
Cool. Thank you.
The only papers I would mark are papers written in English. If the paper is written in Arabic or Spanish, then it will be marked by somebody obviously who speaks Arabic or Spanish. Okay. Any other questions, folks, about the research paper itself? Do you remember where to find all these topics in the Canvas platform? in your modules on the Canvas platform, if you scroll down past the midterm exam and scroll down quite a ways, you come down to module 6B, the final research paper. And this again is where you get the description of what it is you're supposed to do. And this is where you can see those 4 topics, okay? So it's in the module section on the Canvas platform, quite a ways down. All right. We're now going to move along to our next topic, which is MOOCs. Does anybody know what the acronym MOOC stands for? MOOC. Do you know what those letters stand for? What are the words in that acronym? Nobody? Okay, well, you're about to find out. But this is a very, very highly guarded secret what this stands for. So you can't tell anybody, okay? MOOC stands for Massive Open Online Courses. Massive Open Online Courses. What is a MOOC? Now I'm going to play this little YouTube video. I hope you're able to hear it all right. The sound usually comes through just fine. If for some reason you're not able to hear it, I'll put the link in the chat box afterwards and you can always listen to it again. So let's just watch this YouTube video.
The Massive Open Online Course is a response to the challenges faced by organizations and distributed disciplines in a time of information overload. It used to be that when you wanted to know about something, you could do a few things. You could ask someone, you could buy a book, you could try to figure it out for yourself, or you could call a school. If that school offered the course and the thing you were trying to figure out, you could go there and take it. You could get access to information about a topic. An instructor had combed through journals and books to pull the information together from a library. You might even find others who are also interested in the same things that you are. The MOOC is built for a world where information is everywhere, where a social network obsessed with the same thing that you are is a click away, a digital world. A world where an internet connection gives you access to a staggering amount of information. This video will introduce you to how a massive open online course is one way of learning in a networked world. A MOOC is a course, it's open, it's participatory, it's distributed, and it supports lifelong networked learning. In one sense, a massive open online course is just that. It's a course. It has facilitators and course materials, it has a start and an end date, it has participants. But a MOOC is not a school. It's not just an online course. It's a way to connect and collaborate while developing digital skills. It's a way of engaging in the learning process that engages what it means to be a student. It is, maybe most importantly, an event around which people who care about a topic can get together and work and talk about it in a structured way. The course is open. All of the work gets done in areas accessible for people to read and reflect and comment on. The course is open in the sense that you can go ahead and take the course without paying for it. You might pay to get the credit through an institution, but you're not paying for participating in the course. It's also open in the sense that the work done in the course is shared between all the people taking it. The material put together by the facilitators, the work done by the participants, it's all negotiated in the open. You get to keep your work and everybody else gets to learn from it. The course is participatory. You really become part of the course by engaging with other people's work. Participants are not asked to complete specific assignments, but rather to engage with the material, with each other, and with other material they may find on the web. You make connections between ideas and between you and other people. You network. One of the outcomes that people get from the course are the network connections they've built up through engaging with each other. The course is distributed, and all these blog posts and discussion posts, video responses, articles, tweets, and tags all knit together to create a networked course. They're mostly not found in one central location, but rather all over the internet in different pockets and clusters. There's no right way to do the course, no single path from the first week to the last. This allows for new ideas to develop and for different points of views to coexist. It also means that one of the side effects of a MOOC is the building of a distributed knowledge base on the net. The course is a step on the road to lifelong learning. MOOCs promote independence among learners and encourages participants to work in their own spaces and to create authentic networks that they can easily maintain after the course finishes. A MOOC can promote the kind of network creation that lifelong learning is all about. The course part is just the beginning. And how can you go about finding one of these? Well, news that a MOOC will be offered usually spreads on online networks. People who have reputations for interesting skills or innovative thinking on a topic decide to collaborate by offering an open online course covering that topic. Anyone who wants to join in can. In a MOOC, you can choose what you do, how you participate, and only you can tell in the end if you've been successful, just like real life.
Were you able to hear that all right? Good. We'll continue with that PowerPoint in just a moment. Just going to put that link into the chat box in just a moment, as soon as I just have to sort it out here for a second. Just bear with me for a moment. There's the link for that little video. So if you want to copy that link and save it, you can listen to that little video again yourself sometime if you would like to. So what are some examples of different MOOC platforms? Coursera, Udacity, edX, and Udemy are four very popular, well-known platforms that you can find MOOC courses on. Coursera was launched in April of 2012. It had 69 university partners by February 2013, including Stanford, University of Michigan, Princeton, and the University of Pennsylvania. This is a screenshot of the Coursera homepage. These are not active on the slide, they're just screenshots just to give you an idea what they look like. This is edX, Udacity, and the Udemy homepage. On the TESOL Canada website, you will find a link to MOOC if you go to the home/international approvals page. And this is a screenshot of that page. And you see the word MOOC right here in blue letters. If you click on that word MOOC, that will also take you out to other platforms that have MOOC courses. It takes you to this page. And the MOOC list, so from the TESOL internet website, you can go to this MOOC listing and you can find many platforms that offer different MOOC courses here. You have a MOOC assignment. Now we'll look at this on the Canvas platform, This says you will receive an email regarding the assignment. You won't necessarily receive an email at all because with the new Canvas platform, the new course that you folks are following, what used to come out in an email about the MOOC assignment is now on the Canvas platform. And we'll look there in a few moments. We'll go to the Canvas platform. We'll show you where it is. But the essay that you write about MOOCs is a 2 to 4 page of research that should identify various methods and technology used, MOOCs advantages and disadvantages compared to traditional classrooms, covering different levels, broadcasting to many geographical locations and more. For this assignment, you may use online MOOC resources. As part of the assignment, you are asked to sign up for a free online course through one of the MOOC platforms. Make sure you choose a free online course. This is not intended to cause you to have extra costs connected with your course. So choose a free online course on any one of these MOOC course websites. Choose a free course and complete a couple sessions of that course so you can discuss your experience in the MOOC assignment paper. It is not necessary to complete the course. So we're going to go now to the Canvas platform. And under modules, we're going to have a look at the MOOC section. It is described as the TESOL module for MOOC study. So you've got your MOOC essay, let me just get to that again. Oh, this is still locked on my modules. That's why it hasn't, I can't show you what it says, but it basically tells you to, it tells you the details about how to do your MOOC assignment. And so that's why it's important to make sure you do all of the quizzes all the way through. If you don't do quizzes, then you will not get future sections of the modules unlocked, because the Canvas platform tracks what you've completed, and it will only unlock things for you if you've completed everything before that. That's also why it's important to hand in assignments on a timely basis. So we're going to have a look at this little PowerPoint. We'll go through this little PowerPoint, and then I'll show you my MOOC assignment. You can get a better sense of what the assignment includes. So very important when you're doing any kind of a MOOC course, when you're running a MOOC course, having internet and Wi-Fi with a stable internet connection. So when I'm doing these webinars, I always keep my laptop plugged into my modem. I hardwire it to my modem. I don't rely on Wi-Fi because Wi-Fi connections can become unstable. a good quality microphone and a good quality webcam. Those are very important technical pieces of equipment that are very important to include in your repertoire of materials. Are you going to offer a course that is synchronous or asynchronous? What is the difference between those? So these, yes, Yasmin, you raised your hand.
Yeah, synchronous when the students and the teacher are both online and they're working together. Asynchronous is where I give duties or tasks to students where we're not online on the same page.
Correct. So right now, what we're doing right now is a synchronous portion of your Canvas course, your TESOL course, because we're all here together online. But your TESOL course, overall, if you were to describe it, you would say it is an asynchronous course because it involves times when you're doing studying on your own, but you're not with the rest of the class and I'm not there with you. You're doing your own private self-paced study on the Canvas platform. That's the asynchronous part of it. But whenever we're all together in a webinar like we are right now, that is a synchronous activity within the course itself. So this live online session is synchronous. The recorded webinars later on, if you go to watch one of the webinar recordings, that becomes a version of asynchronous learning for you because it's a recorded session rather than live. There are different types of MOOCs. There are CMOOCs or XMOOCs. A CMOOC means a connectivist MOOC. It emphasizes the role of social and cultural context. The perspective of this is similar to Vygotsky's zone of proximal development. This was later transposed into Engström's activity theory. You will encounter the references to these scientists, these theorists in the Canvas platform and in the TESOL handbooks. You should know about these people and you should have a clear understanding of what their theories were all about, because that is a question that is often on the final exam, something connected to Vygotsky or Engström. Connectivity refers to the relationship between experience, learning, and knowledge. This is similar to Bandura's social learning theory, which proposes that people learn through contact. The XMOOC, or extended MOOC, is designed to be in addition to something else, such as a university course. So that's where the edX MOOCs and TEDx MOOCs, those are specifically designed to be connected to university courses, and that's an XMOOC rather than a connectivist MOOC. There is also something called a VMOOC. This is a vocational MOOC. This offers simulations and related technologies to teach and assess practical skills. So you can go on the internet and you can find YouTube videos and MOOC courses about doing plumbing, for instance, or doing electrical work or repairing a car. Those are practical skills, and you can find vocational MOOC courses to help teach you about that material. So you have connectivist MOOCs, you have XMOOCs, and vocational MOOCs. MOOCs should be smart. They should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. The key skills of a MOOC are set clear learning goals, have an overall main purpose with enabling objectives, how the learners will achieve the goal, and terminal objectives, what will be the benefits for learners at the end of the lesson. In planning, make sure every step is in detail, include pictures, video links, worksheets, handouts, PowerPoint presentations with voiceover recording, games, quizzes, and no dead time. Do you know how to you add a voice recording, a voiceover recording on a PowerPoint presentation? Do you know how to do that? Yes? Okay, good. Having good management skills, setting tasks, check the learner's understanding, have clear instructions, and demonstrate the activities. Now you'll notice with all the points that we're making on these few slides right here, these points sound like the details of a conversation activity or a 4-skills lesson plan. Well, they are, because when you design a MOOC course for learning, you're really creating a lesson plan. So that's why we've got a lot of overlap with the words that we use to describe how to build a good MOOC. Use gestures. Invite the learners to speak. So when I ask for you folks to participate, that's a very good way of keeping the listeners engaged. And make sure that I'm paying attention when you're talking, because it's important for me to show my interest and give you time to answer the question you've decided to respond to. Ask open-ended questions to encourage discussion. If I ask a question and the answer can be done with a yes or no, that is a closed-ended question. Doesn't leave any encouragement for discussion. So I need to ask questions that encourage you to give a more elaborate answer, and that gets the conversation going. Establish and build rapport. Offer encouragement and praise. Chat with the learners before the class begins, and personalize the class for learners. So as you've noticed, I will often have a positive comment for somebody who gives an answer. If Yasmin gives me an answer about a question, and if my response to Yasmin is, "Oh, that was a silly response, Yasmin," then Yasmin will never answer another question ever again. So always give positive response whenever a student offers an answer to a question, or whenever they have an idea, and I say, "Oh, that's an interesting idea. Yes, thank you for sharing that with us." And so positive comments can absolutely encourage a classroom to keep going, whether it's online or in person. I'm sure if you've taught classes, you've discovered this yourself. Bring energy, enthusiasm, and personality into the class. So I do my best on that point. And I think you've discovered I definitely have a unique personality, and it's good to share that, and it's good to let the students know that, the teacher's a human being too. And we can enjoy a little bit of a chuckle every now and then, and still do a lot of learning in the process. So different online site resources that we've looked at. We had a brief look at Coursera, Udemy, it's pronounced two different ways, Udacity, and Thinkific is another very good online resource site for designing MOOC courses. For this PowerPoint that I created, I used the MOOC program guide from TESOL as my main reference for this PowerPoint slide presentation. So now, just bear with me for a brief moment. I'm going to pull up my MOOC paper, and I'm going to share it with you so you can have a look at it. So this was my MOOC assignment. I started off with a general introductory paragraph. Now keep in mind that this was still quite early in the pandemic. I wrote this in October of 2020. And I did discuss different methods and technologies that are used in MOOCs. I talked about video lectures, connectivist MOOCs, the CMOOCs. I talked about XMOOCs, TEDx and edX being examples of extended resources that are typically designed to supplement a university course. Graphic novels are also becoming more popular to improve knowledge retention. These and how-to videos. The how-to videos are the vocational MOOCs that I mentioned a few moments ago. And then I talked about the MOOCs that I investigated for this paper. I went to Udemy. I watched the tutorials and had preliminary communication with their team. In Coursera, I reviewed course outlines, but I've not signed up to study anything here yet. When you get into when your MOOC module is unlocked for you to work with, you will find a reference to what is known as the Box Hill Academy in Australia. That's at a university in Australia. I was not able to get that link to work for me. I couldn't get that link to work. I don't know why. I tried everything I could. I tried both my computers. I tried my iPad, my iPhone. I couldn't get that link to work at all. So if you're not able to get that link to work, don't be too concerned about it. But I just mentioned it as a point of reference. And then I talked about the online courses, that I did as a student. In May and June of 2020, I completed the Contemporary Approaches for University Teaching, CAUT course on Canvas. This was offered on my Canvas dashboard as I was completing TESOL modules. And I found my experience both with TESOL and CAUT to have been a positive experience. I was able to easily access material, prompt automated responses, and logical progression through units and modules has made the experience very user-friendly. I hope you're finding the same thing with the Canvas platform. I think it is quite well set up, and it moves along nicely. In recent years, I've also taken many courses for professional designations in continuing education through a wide variety of online providers. Part of the point of this MOOC essay is to illustrate the experience you have with online courses. And so that's why I describe these different things that I've had experience with. And as a teacher, online courses as a teacher, I have taught university courses online through Zoom using support mechanisms, both Moodle and Google Drive platforms, and I've also had experience teaching through Google Classroom online. Now, most of that was done during the pandemic and after the pandemic hit, but a little bit of it was done before the pandemic. Then I talked about my review of some MOOC platforms. So I chose those 4 to review. And I found an article by a fellow by the name of Paul Stacey. And I'll put the link to his article, I'll put it in the chat box after we stop looking at this paper in a moment. That article by Paul Stacey, I would strongly recommend that you read it and use it as a point of reference when you're writing your MOOC essay, because he had some very good information. And then I talk about the fact that I agreed with Stacey, except that I feel it's incumbent upon the individual instructor to ameliorate this situation by incorporating elements for online interaction between students, such as breakout rooms in Zoom, Google Team Meets applications, et cetera, et cetera. As part of my CAUT course that I did, one of the assignments that they had us do was to go to the website called Voki. Have you ever heard of that website, Voki? Are you familiar with it? I'm going to take you out to that website, because on that website, what they had us do was create a Voki avatar and make some statement about education. So let's just go to this Voki website and I'll show you the avatar that I created. There he is. I was waiting for him to show up. Here's the avatar I created. So I'm going to play the recording, but just before I play the recorded message, which is my statement about education, when I move the cursor, watch the eyes and the head. Watch where his eyes go. I found that very entertaining. I played around with this cursor for a long time, just watching him spin his eyeballs around in his head. Very, very funny. So let me play the recording for you. I think you should be able to hear it.
Hello, I am Dano. My teaching philosophy focuses on student-centered activities. It is very important for me to identify and understand individual student characteristics and learning needs. I incorporate group work and student peer reviews in my classes. My goal is to guide students to become lifelong learners using discovery, analysis, and creative problem-solving skills.
So I thought that was quite entertaining. So that Voki website, that is designed, accounts can be created by individual teachers or schools or by an entire board of education for collaborative instruction and learning opportunities. And the way that website is set up is that, let's say you as a teacher, you create an account. Now, I did not create an account. I was able to make that Voki avatar for free. You get to do one for free, and then they want you to pay for an account. Well, I wasn't going to pay for an account. I just wanted the free avatar. But the way the website is designed, a teacher can open an account, then the teacher can have each student create their own avatar. And the students, through their avatar, the students submit assignments and they present assignments, and the teacher replies back to the student through the avatar. So it's all designed to be set up as a virtual communication system. And quite interesting. I'm not sure I totally agree with it, because you lose the actual human person in touch connection with the student and the teacher. But certainly for a little bit of entertainment and a bit of fun sometimes, the avatar could definitely work and be an interesting alternative, creating different voices. So that was just a little fun thing. I always like to share that with the webinar participants, because I think that Voki is quite entertaining, that avatar. And I liked that British accent. I thought the British accent made me sound like I was really, really intelligent. And so that's why I chose, thank you guys, but yes, That's why I chose the British accent, because whenever possible, I like to sound as intelligent as I can. And I have to confess that that little avatar that I created is probably the most intelligent sounding that I've ever been. So anyway, after we're finished sharing this MOOC presentation, if you would like me to put that Voki link into the chat box as well, you can all go to the Voki website and have a look at it, and you can create your own personal private avatar, and then you're able to save it and you can share it. You can email a link to other friends and they can watch your avatar and listen to what you have to say. So you get to build the avatar. You choose the face, you choose the hair, you choose the outfit it's wearing. So I chose that astronaut from a whole different group of various outfits. So keep in mind, this paper is supposed to be 3 to 4 pages long. Well, mine is 6 pages long, but I have a problem keeping things short. I expand things. I will repeat myself often, as you're fully aware, and I have trouble keeping things down to a short time frame. So I included a couple of appendixes. The first one was that I included a screenshot of not being able to get into that website that I told you about a little bit earlier. So I wanted to make sure that in my paper, they knew I had tried, and I saved a screenshot of the message I got. It was unable to locate that internet server. But I also included Appendix 2. I wanted to talk at length about advantages and disadvantages of online versus in class. Sometimes online has the advantage, sometimes in class has the advantage. But I wanted to talk at length on many different points. So the items, the points that I wanted to discuss are all down the left-hand side here. So I created this table. I created the table because I was able to use point forms inside the cells, the boxes, inside the table. If I had written this out in full essay form, I would have added another 3 or 4, maybe 5 pages to my overall essay. That would have made it too long. So I designed the chart on purpose to shorten my number of pages. So you might want to consider doing something like that as well if you discover that you're coming up with too many pages, and you have items and information you could put into a chart form. You might want to consider doing that too. So I talked about asynchronous and synchronous learning here, talked about many different items, and then I filled in my comments about the online advantage or disadvantage and the in-class advantage or disadvantage. So that was my solution to extra pages in my overall essay. And then, of course, bibliography. Very important to include a bibliography. Don't forget the bibliography. And all the items to which you refer in the bibliography, you should have them. All the items you refer to in your paper, you should include in the bibliography. So here's this Paul Stacey article, The Pedagogy of MOOCs. I'll put this link in the chat box in a moment. And here's my Voki avatar character create. I'll put this link in the chat box as well. And you can go there and play around with that website and see what you come up with. So that's the MOOC essay. Any questions about the MOOC essay, folks? Fairly straightforward? Okay, very good. Let's stop sharing this now, and we'll Sorry, just writing down some names for the attendance list that I have to send Dr. Valley each time. So let me put some of these links in the chat box for you. The first one is the Paul Stacey link. So that's the Paul Stacey article. I would strongly recommend that you read that Paul Stacey article. I think it will offer you some good insights and help with writing your MOOC essay. And then here's the Voki link. There's the Voki link. Okay, folks? So there you go. So have fun with the Voki and read the Paul Stacey article for sure. Any questions about the MOOC essay or about MOOCs in general? About what they are?
Yeah, just a small question.
Okay.
Is it more like the final research paper where we do need to get primary or secondary resources, or is it more like the foundation essay, or a combination of both?
That's an excellent question, Shok. It really is more like a combination of the foundation essay and the research paper because you are including aspects in your MOOC essay. You're including aspects that are your own personal observations from experience with MOOCs, but you're also including some scholarly research. So you're doing some research into the history of MOOCs, and with that Paul Stacey article, the pedagogy of MOOCs. So it's combining personal observation with more formalized research into MOOCs and what they are and how they function.
Got it. Okay. And thank you. And the second question is it okay like to, because I've never taught a course online yet, so I don't have, like, I know I've seen like in your essay where you put your experience as a student versus your experience as a teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think I did quite a few courses on like MOOC systems. One of them was Future Learn. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that.
Yes. Yes. That's another good MOOC site.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to talk about that because that's my
Definitely.
experience, but not
Definitely.
for the teacher.
That's okay. I mean, if you have not taught a course online, then you can't talk about it. Right? So they're interested in knowing what your experience has been. I only talked about my experience as a teacher online because I've done it. Right? And I wanted to make sure that they were aware of that that information. And I think my MOOC paper was also part of the reason that Dr. Valley invited me to begin instructing these webinars online as well, because I have had online experience. Plus the fact that I've been teaching for twice as long as most of you have been alive. You know, I've been teaching for half a century, right? And so I've
Yeah.
a tremendous amount of experience in all kinds of subjects. So put all of that together, and I think that's why he asked me to become an instructor with TESOL, which was very nice. I'm glad to be doing this. I quite enjoy doing these. All right. Any other questions about MOOC? Any questions about the research paper?
Hi, Daniel.
Yes.
Daniel, could you please explain the difference between XMOOC and VMOOC? Actually, I didn't get that very much.
Sure. Let me just go back to we get the right PowerPoint here. I'll just show you that slide in the PowerPoint again there, Blossom. So the XMOOC is an extended MOOC. The X stands for the word extended. So MOOC platforms such as edX and TEDx are XMOOCs because those MOOCs are designed to be added to something else, such as a university course.
Okay.
The VMOOC is the vocational MOOC, where practical skills are being taught through the online course with demonstrations and simulations. So, for instance, if I were to create a, just getting something to show you here, if I were to create a MOOC course about plumbing
Mhm.
and soldering copper pipe together,
Okay.
I could use my plumbing example of copper pipe that I soldered together.
Mhm. Okay.
So I would have a vocational MOOC
Right. Right.
with demonstrations about how to solder copper pipe. So that this is actually a sculpture that I made early in COVID because I was replacing the copper pipe in my laundry room in the basement of the house here. It was leaking, so I cut it all out, and I thought that copper pipe is too expensive to throw away, so I made a sculpture out of it.
Oh, that's nice. Creative.
And this sculpture, the copper piping just doesn't make any sense at all. It just keeps winding around and connecting to itself with, you know, there's a tap here, but the tap doesn't do anything because there's no water inside this thing, right? It's just, and I called this sculpture COVID Confusion, relentless path to nowhere. So that was how I felt about COVID in the early days of COVID.
That's right.
I still feel that way about COVID. But anyway, so does that help, Blossom?
Yes. Yes, Daniel, definitely. Thank you so much.
Okay. And now, you know, the main reason that I showed you that copper sculpture that I made was because I can describe using words what these different MOOCs are. But by showing you that copper sculpture, you will never forget the copper sculpture.
Yeah, that's right.
You will always remember that's plumbing, that's vocational. So I always use memory tricks like that to help people remember things.
Mhm.
Give you
Right.
something visual to remember it by, rather than just the words. The words are fine, but something visual, an item or a picture, is so much more powerful.
Right. Right.
Make sense?
Yes. Yes, Daniel. Thank you.
Okay. So, you know, as a teacher, it's always important to tell. So telling and explaining is fine, but it's even more important to show. Right? If I show as well as tell, then you'll remember what you saw more than you will remember what you heard. Because predominantly, as human beings, we are visual learners. Okay? Yes, Irina, you have a question.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you a question. I took a course from the British Council website, the course was about skills for remote teaching. And I'm curious, can I talk about this course as a part of MOOC, or it's not a part of MOOC at all? The course is not from Coursera or edX or Udemy or anything like that, but this is from the website, and they offer so many courses. Um, and I'm just thinking about if it's relative to.
It is absolutely relative, yes.
Mhm.
Yes,
Okay. Or
it is definitely relevant. You see, British Council
relevant,
has,
sorry.
yeah, no, British Council has so many courses
Mhm.
that are MOOC courses.
Okay.
So a MOOC course does not have to be offered on Coursera or Udemy or Udacity or Thinkific to be a MOOC course. A MOOC course
Sure.
it can be on almost any website.
Okay. Okay, I understood.
Yes,
Thank you.
so absolutely you should use that British Council course that you did. You should
Mhm.
use that as a course that you talk about that you took.
Mhm. I will. Thank you.
And you can even use the link to get to that course. Include the link in your references in your bibliography.
Yeah, I've got a certificate. It was like 15-hour course or 72-hour course, 72-hour course, skills for remote teaching. Excellent course. I was impressed with the information I've got and
Good
everything.
for you. Good for you. Yes, definitely use
I
that.
will attach, probably I will attach my certificate if it's needed.
Well, I would attach that as an appendix to your essay.
Hmm.
Yes,
Sure,
definitely include
sure.
that. Sure, that makes good sense. So Farah has a question. What if you took an online course that is not a MOOC course? Well, uh, it's a that's an excellent question, Farah. You did a program with the Harvard Graduate School of Education. I would definitely reference that. You see, let's go back to your first question. What if you took an online course that is not a MOOC course? Well, I would argue that just about any course that is offered online can be considered a MOOC course. A massive open online course just simply means any course offered online which anybody is able to access. So whether it's free or whether you pay a fee to take it, if it's online and anybody on the face of the earth can take it and register for it, then that is a MOOC course. So in my opinion, if it's online, it almost becomes automatically a MOOC. Now, if you come across a YouTube tutorial video that might have one or two very short little 2-minute videos to describe how-to technique of doing something, I would not call that a course. Those are just quick little reference videos. And Farah now says in the chat box, I'm studying Islamic geometry design online. Even though it's not related to education, could I also reference that? Excuse me. Definitely, I would reference that as well, Farah. Yes. If you've done it online, reference it in your MOOC paper. Okay. Any other questions, folks? Beshad.
Hi, Daniel. This MOOC is going to be a bit of a challenge for me because this course that with TESOL is the first time I ever do anything online, and I'm not very tech savvy. So I've always kind of refrained from approaching online anything. Bearing that in mind, I'm not quite sure what sort of angle I can take to develop that into a paper. This is my only experience as a person.
Well, you would definitely talk about your experience with this course, but you should also go to one of those other websites, Udacity or Udemy or Coursera. Go to all those websites and sign up for a free online course. Choose a free course and just complete 1 or 2 sessions of it so that you can talk about it in your paper.
Okay.
And that will give you a little bit more experience. Don't pay for a course. Don't buy a course. Don't put in your credit card information or anything like that. Just select a free course.
I see.
In your internet browser, you can even type free online courses, and that'll take you to sites that have free online courses. So pick a free online course about gardening or cooking or something simple and straightforward like that. Not that cooking is necessarily an example. Oh, there you go. Shok just put an example in the chat box for you, Bishad.
Yeah, saw that. Okay. Great.
Okay, so oh, Shok says, "Oops, wrong link." There you go. Okay, so take that link from Shok, the
Great.
Future Learn. That's another good website, and you should be able to find some free courses there. Thank you very much for that, Shok.
Great, thank you. And also, you mentioned that there are resources available for us to study before we do our final paper. I couldn't find that on the TESOL site. I didn't look in the right place, I think.
Are you talking about the research paper now?
Correct, yeah.
Well, on the Canvas platform, if we go to the research paper down here,
Uh-huh.
it gives you it talks about what you're supposed to do here at the beginning. You can find resources inside this link, this archive.org link.
Oh, I see.
So you can go in there and look. And then for this essay topic, for instance, they've included a link for teaching English to kids. So they've got a link right there with that essay topic. But you can also go to the TESOL manual. Have you downloaded the TESOL manual yet?
I haven't.
Okay. You can go to these BBC resources. Here's some British Council resources. So down at the bottom of this research paper page, you've got all these resources that you need to look at.
Okay.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
And for that TESOL manual to download, this is back at the beginning of the modules. Go inside TESOL resources. You need to download this TESOL manual, and you should download the TESOL Canada handbook. You should download those two for sure and have them as reference for many of your assignments as well as studying for the exam. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Bishop. Does that help?
Yeah, quite. Thank you.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Irina. I'm just seeing the chat box now. The British Council link. Yep, that's excellent. That's good for everybody to take these, the link from shokethefuturelearn.com and the link from Irina for British Council. You should all copy those links and save them to look for a free course to do for your MOOC paper. Okay, anything else about the MOOC essay or anything about the research paper or anything about anything to do with the course? Any questions at all? We have one more topic we're going to cover here today. Okay, Shok, question.
Just a quick one about the two 4-skill lesson plans. Just in what format should we submit them? Like, is it like more like a Word document or PPT? Doesn't matter.
That's your choice. That's totally your choice. If you want to use a PowerPoint, that's fine. If you want to do it as a Word document, that's fine too. Whatever you decide you want to do.
Okay, and if we're building off of the conversation activities, we do have to copy all of that in the new assignment, right? The 4-skill lesson plan and then flush it out to make it 4 skills. We
I
can just reference back to the conversation activity.
I wouldn't even copy it from the conversation activity. I would just take your conversation activity and just flush it out right there. So you don't need to keep it as a conversation activity. After you've handed it in, it's handed in, the assignment's completed. Now, choose the conversation activities you're going to turn into 4 skills lesson plans and just beef those up. Just add to the conversation activity.
In the same, but not in the same, because I'm using the conversation review form, right? But that's why I meant to say copy it into the new Word document or PPT.
Oh, I see what you're referring to. Okay, well, that makes sense then, yes.
Right? Okay. Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Yeah. Now, on that point of the 4 skills lesson plan, let me just get to something here. I had a lot of windows open there that I had to get past. So as with the conversation activities, I also developed an assessment form for the 4 skills lesson plans, which has basically the same details up here. I made a couple of slight changes, but nothing significant. And you recognize the design of this. It's essentially the same as the conversation activities assessment form. So that's where I say, you should be able to take your conversation activity and just expand on it right here. If you want to copy this and paste it into a new document, that's fine too. Okay. Does that help, Shok? Okay, good. Bishad, did you have another question or is your hand still up from before?
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss a question you had.
Thank you.
Farah, no, you do not need to create new activities for the 4 skills lesson plans. Choose some of your conversation activities that you already submitted and just expand on them to turn them into 4 skills lesson plans. So the conversation activities, which skills were they focusing on?
Listening, speaking.
Correct. And then what are the other 2 skills that you need for the 4 skills lesson plans?
Writing and reading.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes. So take your conversation activities, select a few of them, as many as you need to have for 4 skills lesson plans, and just add reading and writing activities to them to turn them into a 4 skills lesson plan. Okay? Make sense?
Yep. Great.
Okay. Any other questions, folks? These are all good questions. Every question is a good question. No questions about, okay, has everybody handed in your foundation essay? If you've not handed in your foundation essay, you should hand that in ASAP. And then you should hand in your conversation activities as quickly as possible next. Then your 4 skills lesson plans, then your MOOC essay. Okay? So get those handed in as soon as possible, because remember, the Canvas platform tracks the assignments that you submit, and they will not unlock later modules until you submit assignments. Okay? Okay. So no other questions about the course right now? Good to go? All right. Questions about the meaning of life? Okay, that's for another day. That's another topic for a different day. Don't ask me that today. I don't have enough information on that right now. Okay, so we're going to go to our final topic for today. PowerPoint on teaching business English. I love this opening slide. That movement in that opening slide, that came as part of the when I selected it for the first slide for the background. It comes with the motion in it. I thought that was pretty spectacular. So here's that CAUT course that I did on the Canvas platform, along with the TESOL that I had done back in May, June of 2020. So there's that CAUT, Contemporary Approaches to University Teaching. These other designations are all connected to financial services. I'm a representative in financial services here in Ontario. So those are the other professional designations I've got for that. And this is my Ontario College of Teachers, because I'm a certified teacher here in the province. How is teaching business English different from teaching general English? Teacher and trainer Gabrielle Jones, who won the most recent British Council Teaching English Blog Award, tells us how to succeed in the business English classroom. Find out what students really want to achieve. You'll be teaching busy adults who are used to working towards objectives. You should therefore discuss with them at the beginning of the course what they would realistically like to achieve. Skills could include things such as telephoning more effectively, writing more coherent emails, chairing meetings, etc. Get a clear idea about the contexts in which learners use English. A very important part of the needs analysis process should be a discussion about the context in which the course participants need to perform. Why are they learning English? Who do they communicate with in their work, and under what conditions? Someone who is learning English just to brush up fluency skills will have different needs and expectations to someone who is learning English to supervise a team working in another country. Be businesslike, but keep energy levels high. To make the right impression, it's important to teach in a businesslike way. This affects what you say and how you behave, but also what you wear. If you're going to work in company, then punctuality, professionalism, and competence are crucial. Now, this is referring to working in person inside an office. But I would argue that all these points are just as important when you're working online. Furthermore, business English learners, like all learners, need motivating. Excuse me. A group of managers who have just come back from a long business trip will need their trainer to keep their energy levels high, and as with all classes, there needs to be a certain degree of entertainment. As in the general English classroom, learners will expect you to bring materials to class. There are lots of books and online resources available, but it's important to choose materials that create authentic situations in the classroom. Probably the most important resource is the learners themselves. They can provide you with real materials from their working lives, the things they need to read and understand, or perhaps even create and present. These could be leaflets, emails, PowerPoint presentations, or reports. Business people can have high expectations. They might ask for classes before they start work, during lunchtime, or at the end of the working day. This means trainers can end up working long days, perhaps starting the first class at 7:30 in the morning and finishing the last lesson in the evening. In addition, learners may cancel at the last minute because of unforeseen problems. Perhaps an important call has come in or their train is delayed. Although this can be frustrating, business English teachers and trainers need to accept that for learners in the workplace, work is clearly their priority. To reduce the stress, it can be a good idea to negotiate a cancellation policy with the company in advance. Ask them to make sure they inform you 24 or 48 hours in advance, for example. A further issue may be the numbers of people attending class. It's not unusual to prepare for a group of 6 to 8 people and have only one person show up. Try and create activities that will work on a one-to-one basis. Business English teaching can be very interesting and rewarding, although teaching in company, in-person employees requires a variety of skills and techniques. It mostly boils down to good preparation and a professional approach. All right, that's about teaching business English. The business English learner is a different creature from the general English learner. As you will discover, people who are learning business English for business purposes are usually more driven. They're usually more of an A-type personality, and they can have higher expectations than just a general English learner. A general English learner who is learning English just for communication within the community. They might even be learning English to pass an IELTS exam, whether it's the general exam or the academic exam. That is still different than a business English learner. Business English learner is very serious about the specific business that they're involved with. And you may actually need to learn new terminology in order to help somebody learn the business English that they need to learn. Any questions, folks? Yes, Blossom.
Daniel, is this TBE it's called, right? Teaching Business English. So
TBE, yes.
yeah, so is this a part of our curriculum? Like I have opted for the advanced diploma, the advanced certification, TESOL certification course. So in that, I think as far as I know, we have teaching academic English and teaching English to children. So we are supposed to opt two options out of these three. I guess we need to exclude the TBE.
I believe you're correct in that, yes.
Oh yeah, okay. So I was just having a doubt if, if we are allowed to, opt for all the three, or we need to opt for two out of the three options.
I think it's only 2.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, fine. Thank you, Daniel.
But I also think it's very important for you to be aware of the TBE.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Okay.
just going to the Canvas platform here, because the TBE is often, there's often a question, on TBE on the final exam. So I'm just looking, excuse me, just looking under the modules here, teaching business English. So teaching English, teaching academic English is the prerequisite for teaching business English.
Mm.
And I can't open it up because I don't think it'll open. I don't know if it's unlocked yet for me. No, it hasn't been unlocked yet for me. Just going to go back, see what that said. Part of the advanced TESOL. Right, so if you're in advanced, you do need to do this. But it won't unlock for you
Mm.
until you complete everything ahead of it
Oh, all right. All right.
on the Canvas platform. Everything before that must be completed. That's why it's very important to complete all these quizzes all the way along. Make sure you do all these quizzes all the way through the Canvas platform. And make sure you've got your midterm exam done.
Mm-hmm.
The conversation activities are handed in, because then the Canvas platform will indicate that you've done to do here. It will unlock future modules for you.
Right.
Okay,
Yes, yes, Daniel. Thank you.
you're welcome. Any other questions, folks?
Daniel, I have a question. The supplementary conversation activities in the form of games, is that just like practice for us, or is that compulsory?
Games are not compulsory, but games are a very good way to cause the speaking and listening in a conversation activity to take place.
So what they've given us is kind of examples of how we could incorporate that into our teaching.
Of course, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And when you do use games in lesson plans, what methodology is that? Anybody? What methodology is it when you're using games?
Is it TPR and audio?
It's TPR.
Yeah.
TPR. That's right. Exactly. Shok, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm also in the advanced certificate, and I thought that like I haven't taught English before, and I was like maybe I could skip the teaching English to children. It's the last one. It's on week 8. But then I thought that we do have to finish all 3 of them. Like we don't have a choice to select, or do we?
Well, that's a very good question. I think you should complete all the modules that get unlocked for you. If you're not required to do a module, they won't unlock it for you.
I see. Okay, great.
So you should keep doing modules until you hit one that gets locked. So if teaching academic or teaching, what was it, teaching English to children at the very last one?
Mhm.
Yeah. Module 9. If teaching English to children does not unlock for you, then you're not required to do it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
But the interesting thing for me is I just clicked on it and it opened up for me. Even though I couldn't get some earlier modules to open, I was just able to open the Teaching English to Children. And again, as I mentioned a few moments ago, to Blossom, I think it's a good idea to be familiar with all these modules, because there could be a question on the final exam connected to it. And whether you're required to do it or not, it doesn't hurt to read through it and just have a little bit of familiarity with it.
Just one thing, the way that I see the course from my end here is that we do the final board exam, and then the 3 modules for advanced certificate are unlocked. So, you know, like before even we're able to study for them or read, that's when we take the board exam. And then after that point, they are unlocked. So I don't know how we are going to get questions about those.
No, you'll have access to them before the board exam. I did. You have to have access to the material before the board exam.
Okay, then maybe they haven't been unlocked because I haven't done all the quizzes yet, probably.
Well, that could be, yes. Definitely make sure you do all those quizzes and get the conversation activities and the 4 skills lesson plan. Get those handed in, get all those assignments handed in. So even though it's a self-paced course, and you know you control the time frame to a large extent, if you don't hand in assignments, then these other modules will not be unlocked, and you will not be able to move forward with completing the whole course. So you want to get these assignments in as soon as possible and move forward on the courses. Okay. Any other questions? Farah, do you have another question? Okay.
Sorry, no, sorry.
That's okay. No problem. That's fine. So any other questions, folks, about anything to do with the course, any aspect of it? How many of you are teaching currently? Yasmin and Farah, you're doing some teaching right now? And Shabnam, good. Would you like to share a little bit about how any of this TESOL course has affected the way you teach? Since you started doing this TESOL course in the past month or two, has it affected your other teaching activities that you're involved with? Yes, Yasmin.
It has made some changes in how I deal with parents when they come and discuss what do you really do with our kids in classrooms or during the lesson. So I now have more of terminologies that I use in the correct way. So I really explain what we do and what approaches do we use with the children, especially when they're young, very young, and they're trying to learn French or Arabic or English, so another language. This is one thing. Another thing, it's how I start to immerse my students more into the language rather than using direct methods. And I'm talking about French. So in English, I'm used to that, to immerse them indirectly into the conversation and listening, reading. But in French, I used to use more direct grammar So now I change this approach a little bit and I start to immerse them. In the beginning, there's like shocked, what are you saying? And then they get used to the idea of the language. So that's two ways TESOL have helped me to overcome some problems.
Excellent. So you've had some positive impact on your teaching style.
Of
Now,
course, yeah.
I find that interesting that even your communication with the parents has changed after
Yeah,
studying
because
TESOL.
they sometimes they attend like online students, sometimes parents are around them and they don't really know what's the purpose of an activity, or they find it's useless. But when I come discuss it with it, using the right terminology, using the right proofs that we do that for that purpose, they say, oh, okay, we're sorry about that. No, you have the right to know what we're doing and how are we teaching your kids.
That's right. That's right. Very good. Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. That's splendid.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anybody else? The other ladies who are currently teaching, have you had an impact or anything changed in your teaching style since you started the TESOL course? Yes, Farah, go ahead.
Well, I work with really young children, and so we have a really advanced language arts program in terms of how we teach. Because I'm at a Montessori, but I find this really excellent in terms of me as a teacher organizing my lessons. I find the information very specific and it's very kind of goal oriented, and actually it's an excellent way for the teacher to be more organized in terms of what you want out of your class. And there's a lot of information, a lot of additional reading, and so I just think it's a very good program. It's really helped me personally.
Excellent. That's very good. Thank you for sharing that. And yes, Shabnam, go ahead, please. You're muted.
Sorry. Actually, I've done so many things in the class by experience, but now I am more conscious about it and have a name for it. But previously it was unconscious and just by experiment.
Yes. Yes, I understand exactly what you're saying. In all those decades of teaching that I did for the last 50 years, I did not know all the terminologies and all the information that I've learned during the TESOL activity that I've been involved with, doing the course and then doing the webinars. I learned a tremendous amount of new information in terms of, you know, what word is used to describe a certain thing and the different methodologies. I had never heard of all those methodologies before. And so, as you say, you know, previously you did it by instinct, and now you know what word to put, what term to put to the name of a particular thing that you're doing. Yes, it's been a fascinating experience for me as well. So thank you very much for sharing those details. And Babak, you're teaching as well currently? Babak, did you want to describe your experience?
Yes, I have some IELTS courses. So basically, I work in an institute which is one of the official centers for IELTS tests in Iran. Personally, as Shabnam just said, everything was by experiment. So we were experiencing, and by, let's say, this type of experiencing, we were trying to find the best way. Now I think since we plan everything in advance, especially with regards to enabling and terminal objectives, I think everything is just very clear in advance. So we are saving time compared with the, let's say, older system where we were supposed to ask people for making mistakes. In case of a mistake, we were trying to correct them. I think nowadays we have a list of vocab or concepts that we have to work on. This way, I think we are going to save time, and of course, it is going to be better organized.
Very good. Yes, I totally agree. And organization is key when it comes to teaching and running an efficient classroom. How you organize it and how you transition from one day to the next day and one class to the next class, those are all so crucial in the running of a successful classroom or course. Very good. Thank you all for sharing those thoughts uh, that you have with your current teaching experience and the impact of doing this TESOL course. It's always good for us to get that kind of feedback. It's nice to know that what we're doing and saying and sharing with you is having a positive impact on your actual activity. Excellent. All right, we're getting very close to the end of our time, folks. So just before we depart for this week, and it's going to be a little while before I see you again because Ms. Masagi will be doing a session with you and Dr. Valley will be doing a session with you. And then I believe I see you again on Saturday, August 13th. So almost 2 weeks before I see you again, but then I'll see you on Saturday, the 13th, and then I see you on Monday, the 15th. And I believe that's the end of our class. So we're getting close to the end of the webinar section of the course. But before we say goodbye for today, does anybody have any questions? I always like to make sure everybody has a chance to ask any questions they have because every question is a good question. Yes, Shok.
Yeah, I'm sad to hear that we don't have a lot of classes left with you, because also I think I will miss out on the 15th one because that I will still be flying to Syria on the 15th. But anyway, can we until when can we email you if we have like a few questions about the course itself, the course content or assignments?
Well, I'm just going to put my TESOL email address in the chat box one more time, just in case any of you don't have it. Just give me a second. I have trouble talking and typing my name and spelling everything correctly. So you may email me. As far as I know, I'm going to have that email address for many years yet to come. So you can email me anytime if you have a question related to the course. And as you know, I get back to you fairly quickly. So there really is no time limit because as long as I'm connected with TESOL, which I expect to be the case for many years yet to come, I'll have that email address. So anytime you have a question, don't hesitate to send me an email.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Farah, a question.
Daniel, how long or how many more webinars are there for the course?
So today is the 1st of August. There's one on Saturday and then next Monday and then Saturday and Monday. I believe there are 4 webinars left.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Shok, I'm sorry we'll miss seeing you on the 15th, but we certainly hope you have a safe flight to Syria. And are you flying over to Syria on August 15th? Are you coming back from Syria?
No, I'm leaving on the 14th, but because the trip is like 24 hours, I will arrive in Lebanon on like 7:30 p.m. on the 15th. So,
Okay.
and then I have to take another cab to Syria because there's no direct flights. So it's like 2 flights and then a cab and then I'm there.
Right. Right. Well, we certainly hope you have a safe trip. Our
Thank
thoughts
you.
and prayers will be with you as you travel. And
So much.
if you have any questions when you get back, I mean, you can even email me from Syria if you have questions.
Awesome. I think I will. Yeah. And I think I will see you on Saturday, right? You said on Saturday you will be there, 13th or?
On the 13th, yes.
Okay, great.
So you'll be flying out on my birthday. My birthday is the 14th of August.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. So actually for that webinar on the 13th and the webinar on the 15th, I'll be doing those from my son's apartment in Montreal. Because
awesome.
On the 9th of August, I'm driving to Montreal. It's about a 6.5 hour drive from where I live. I'm driving up to Montreal to see him. And I'll be there for a week, so I'll do the last 2 webinars from his apartment.
That's awesome. Well, I hope you enjoy your birthday with him.
Thank you. Yes, should be fun. And I'm going to have an opportunity to meet a young lady who took the TESOL course a couple of years ago. She's from Iran and she is in Montreal right now visiting her sister. So I'm going to meet her and have a coffee, and I'm going to take her a painting that I did for her. But you folks are getting a real show and tell here today. This is a painting I did for this young lady she lives in Iran. Now she took some photographs. So I did this painting. I combined 3 photographs, and thank you very much. I appreciate that. So I did this painting for her. As you can see, it's quite large, but I combined the 3 photographs to turn it into that one painting. So here are the 3 photographs she took. One photograph had those sheep. One photograph had sheep with the mountains in the distance. And then her last photograph was the up close sheep in the front. She loves that up close sheep. The one that's right in the front there. See if I can get it in the camera. She loves that sheep. So I'm taking her this painting. I'll take it up in the car up to Montreal. So she's looking forward to getting that painting, and she'll take it back to Iran with her. So you're getting a real show and tell today with my copper sculpture and my painting of Iran. You should feel quite honored. Not every class gets to see all the artwork. Question. Yasmin, did you have a question? No?
It's showing my impression, how beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Okay, well, I think we're all finished for today, folks. I'm going to stop the recording now.